smashed it. Unbelievable. Bowling. Oh, he's bowled.
Backs him up.
What a catch.
Oh, yes.
That's a biggie. Well played, Ricky Ponte.
Magnificent 100 it is too.
He's got it.
Shane Warne has got it. That is an absolute ripper. That is a big special.
Welcome to the 2006 Allan Border Medal. Please welcome your host, Eddie Maguire.
Good evening, everybody. And on behalf of Cricket Australia, the Australian Cricketers Association and Nine's wide world of sports, welcome to the Crown Palladium Room here in Melbourne for what is the 7th annual Allan Border Medal, tonight brought to you by Crown Lager, as we pay tribute to the 12 months of magnificent cricket that was seen by the Australian cricket team again. Before we do that, let's welcome tonight the man who medal is named after, and that is the great man himself, Allan Border, who's with us tonight. Good on you, Allan. Good to see you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will announce the one-day player of the year, the test player of the year, and of course then the Allan Border medalist. But we've got some fantastic people in the room that we'd like to welcome, and they are the Australian cricketers who have represented our country with such distinction over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Australian cricket team here tonight. And good luck again to the boys on Friday in the first VB final. Ladies and gentlemen, last year in fact, during the last test at the Oval, a rare tribute was paid to one of our very own. I speak of Richie Benaud, and Richie began his calling career in England on the radio in 1961. He then, in 1961, he captained the Australian cricket team. In 1963, he was over there as a television commentator. But in the last test at the Oval, Richie hung up the microphone for the last time in England as a television commentator. And here's the response that the old enemy gave to the former Australian captain.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, this is Richie Benaud's final test match in England as a commentator for Channel 4. He's just finished a spell of commentary at the Vauxhall End. I'm sure you'd like to join the England and Wales Cricket Board and Surrey County Cricket Club in acknowledging the great contribution that Richie has made to cricket not only in this country but around the world. Richie, our thanks and best wishes.
What a magnificent career, not only as a player, but as one of the greatest broadcasters ever of the game of cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my co-compare tonight, Mr. Richie Benaud. Well, Richie, so many accolades over the year, of course, as a player, but that must have been a very special moment for you. And I must add that there was a second standing ovation given to Richie at the end of the day's play after the presentation, when the entire Oval crowd stood as one to give a standing ovation as Richie walked across the Oval. What was it like for you there?
Well, I was a bit uncomfortable with the one you showed because it actually interrupted a test match, and I'm always uncomfortable when that happens. And I did ask them not to do it, but they did. And then you talk about the one at the end of the game. Gary Francis sent me across to give Mike Atherton a hand with the presentation. Not one person had left the ground, partly because England had just regained the Ashes after a long time. But I walked back across the ground then, and I did get a standing ovation, and it hurts me to say it, but it's one of the times a 74-year-old had a bit of a tear in the eye.
Good on you, mate, and well deserved, ladies and gentlemen. Richie Benaud, put your hands together for Richie and welcome tonight. So the good news is you'll continue calling cricket on Nine's Wide Water Sports, and especially with the Ashes Tour coming up later this year. Just take us back to the last 6 months of cricket. It's amazing that an Australian loss in an Ashes series has just sparked the game of cricket again.
Well, it's the most exciting thing I've ever done, be a commentator on that Ashes series. I had the Tide Test series as a player, the 1981 series in England. This was the most exciting and vibrant thing I've ever done. It just turned and twisted all the time. And now, England coming out to defend the Ashes, And you could put the tickets on sale tomorrow and everyone would be sold, including for Sydney and Melbourne, where we'll be going live on Channel 9. Every ticket will be sold within 24 hours.
It's been fantastic, and of course the punter will be there as well. And Ricky's with us tonight, Ricky Ponting. Ricky, congratulations on a fantastic year personally, the disappointment of the Ashes, of course. But mate, you could be the first man tonight to win 2 Allan Border medals. Tell us what it's like, the Allan Border medal night for a cricketer these days.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. It has been an up and down year for the team, and for me personally, it's been a good year. But I haven't even thought about it tonight, to tell the truth. I haven't thought about being the first person to win 2 Allan Border medals. But look, the whole night it's a great night. It's a culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of people through the course of this last 12 months. And whoever wins tonight will be a very deserved winner. And I'm looking forward to the end result.
And the 200s in your 100th test, what a day for you.
Yeah, that was a big week, actually. There's a big build-up to the week, and obviously it was a big test match for us going into that game. So to personally have that sort of success in your 100th test match was very satisfying, yeah.
Good on you, Ricky. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Australian captain, Ricky Ponting. On the table behind him is a man who's a big chance tonight also for the AB medal for the first time, and that is Shane Warne, who's with us tonight. G'day, Warnie. Welcome aboard, mate.
G'day, Ed. How are you, mate?
Good to see you. And congratulations to you on a magnificent year, breaking the record for the number of wickets in a calendar year. It's been another sensational year for Shane Warne.
Yeah, look, it's been a wonderful year. Obviously very disappointing, as Ricky said, to lose the Ashes, but I think the way the team's bounced back and performed this summer has been excellent. So hopefully we can continue that form and give the Poms a bit of a touch-up later on in the year.
We have to ask you, it'd be a big chance to win an AB medal if you played the one-day game. Any further thoughts yet?
No, mate, I'm retired. I'm getting older and older, obviously. I'm 37 later in the year, and I'm pretty happy retired at this stage.
OK, and you got a new date with you tonight, mate. Do you want to tell us about the new girl?
Yes, my daughter Brooke's here tonight with me tonight, and she's annoying people.
Good on you, Brooke. Good on you, Warnie. And mate, good luck for the rest of the night and the rest of your season, mate. Shane Warne. What do you reckon, Richie? He's 37, he can still go on a bit. Do you reckon he could get a second crack at the Poms in the Ashes?
I floated something to him when I presented him with the BBC's Overseas Personality of the Year award, that if he were to go in 2009 for the Ashes series, he would still only be 39 years of age when the last ball was bowled in that series. And I think it not just floated around him, but I think he may have thought about it.
OK. What about the one day? Do you reckon he should have a go?
No.
No?
No. I think if he's going to go to England in 2009, he's better off not to play limited overs.
There you go. Richie Benaud, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get on with the AB medal tonight. We've got plenty of candy to get through. We're going to have a great look at that wonderful Ashes series and look forward to the next one coming up. And who better to get us on our way tonight than Shannon Noll? He's got a new album out called Lift, and it's the cover title that he's going to sing tonight with some of the great highlights of this year's cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Shannon Noll.
I know you're learning, feels like you're learning about life the hard way, and it ain't working. Seems like forever that you've been falling. It's time to move on. Your life is calling. This was never meant to be the end. Close the book and start again. 'Cause I know how hard it can get. You gotta live. You gotta live. And sometimes that's how it is. I know you're stronger, stronger than them. You gotta live. You gotta live. When you can feel your whole body's aching, what's left in your heart, it won't stop breaking. You've gotta let go. You took it here. It's time to be up now. Move on from this. This was never meant to be the end. Close the book and start again. 'Cause I
Welcome back to Allan Border Medal 2006, and great to see so many wonderful faces arriving here tonight. But I'd like to just take this opportunity to acknowledge two people not here with us tonight, two great friends of the Australian cricket community. I speak, of course, of Glenn and Jane McGrath, and we wish the McGraths all the very best watching tonight's Allan Border Medal from home. And Jane, and they have the full support of the Australian cricketing community and sporting community and everybody in this room tonight. Please give Glenn and Jane a round of applause. Best wishes with Glenn and Jane. Okay, let's start the countdown to the one-day player of the year. And to help us look back on what has been a fantastic 12 months of one-day cricket, please welcome from Nine's Wide Water Sports commentary team, Mr. Mark Nicholas.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everybody. Come see the white ball fly. That was one of the slogans that launched itself on the consciousness of the Australian public way back in the late 1970s when Kerry launched World Series cricket on the screens of Channel 9. Well, the white ball has flown far and wide ever since because in its way, one-day cricket leads the development of the global game. Right. Adam Gilchrist had the white ball flying everywhere at the Sydney Cricket Ground last night as the Australians obliterated yet more records. And it's now that we honour this evening our first presentation, and it will go to the one-day cricketer of the year. As we look back over that year now through the eyes of Tony Johns and Andrew McKinlay.
Australia was pitted against Pakistan in the final of the VB series, 91 from Andrew Symonds, helping post a defendable 237 at the MCG. Brett Lee and Glenn McGrath were superb with the ball as the home side claimed a 1-0 lead. It was a similar story in Sydney for Game 2. McGrath's 5 for 27, steering Australia to a clean sweep.
The side then travelled to New Zealand, dominating the Kiwis in a 5-0 series sweep. Ricky Ponting and Matthew Hayden best with the bat. McGrath again the destroyer with the ball, claiming 4 for 14 in one devastating spell.
So a consistent start to the one-day year sees Adam Gilchrist sitting at the top of the leaderboard with McGrath, Lee and Hayden just one vote behind. Next stop, England. And Australia got off to a horror start in the NatWest Tri-Nation Series. Its opening loss to Bangladesh described as one of the greatest upsets in cricket history.
On the Richter scale, it's off the scale.
But with the emergence of Michael Hussey in the middle order, Australia made the final against England. And what a match it was. Chasing just 196, the home side needed 3 off the last ball, but could manage only 2, the match ending in a tie. After losing Game 1 of the NatWest Challenge against England, man of the series Ricky Ponting asserted his dominance, and with centuries to the skipper and Adam Gilchrist, Australia prevailed 2-1 to clinch the series. New sensation Mike Hussey and Adam Gilchrist share the lead for the one-day player of the year, with Lee and Ponting still very much in contention.
Michael Hussey continued to enhance his reputation in the 3-game Super Series against the World 11. He averaged over 100, while man of the series Adam Gilchrist scored the only century. Brett Lee and Shane Watson starring with the ball.
And in December, Australia travelled back to New Zealand to claim a 2-1 win in what turned out to be a fascinating Chappell-Hadley series. After dominating in Game 1 thanks to a blistering Brett Lee spell, it was edge-of-the-seat viewing as honours in Games 2 and 3 were split, with Andrew Symonds smashing an unforgettable 156 off 127 balls, including 8 sixes.
And guess what? It's gone for 6.
That sounded like 6.
Well, our voting year commenced last February with the V finals against Pakistan, more obliteration by the Aussies. That's how it stood after the games at the Telstra Dome against the ICC World 11. Before I introduce Mark Taylor, there's one thing that we all ought to know. Sadly, Andrew Symonds is not eligible to win one of the awards tonight because of his suspension after a decent night out at the start of the Tour of England. Evening, Mark.
Oh, good evening. I remember a time, I think it was back in Allan Border's captaincy, that he actually got man of the match for that sort of behaviour. 3 points. Obviously, things changed after AB left.
Been an interesting year for the Aussies in one-day cricket. Quite a big turnover of players.
Has been. We've had a great year, I think, Australia in one-day cricket, apart from maybe the hiccup against Bangladesh. But I think that whole series, that Ashes series, brought about some change in the Australian side. And the good news, I think, is that we've seen a lot of different players come in. We've seen people like Hussey and Hodge and Hayden. We've met Brett
New
Dorey.
players, not younger.
Yeah, Brett Dorey from 6'25" from the West. Stuart Clark's got a chance. So we've seen a lot of new faces, which I think would be good for Australia going into the World Cup next year. So fingers crossed all these changes we've seen will work in our favour next year.
Ricky Ponting finished top of, the highest Australian run scorer ever, and he also finished top of the world rankings, as did the irrepressible Glenn McGrath, I've got to say. What was your highlight, though, of the year?
My highlight would probably be Mike Hussey's catch at the Gabba in the one day that we lost up there against South Africa. I remember being on commentary at the time, calling it ball by ball, and I'm not prone to Bill Laurieisms all that often, but I must admit I was out of my chair saying, "Go on, got him, catch of the season," all those sorts of things came to mind as I was up there. So that to me was the highlight.
You'd have been on fire if you were Bill Laurie, mate.
It was all happening.
Oh, got him. Right, let's get back to the tape and pick up the year where we left it with Australia's startling performance at the start of this VB series at the Telstra Dome.
Australia dominated Sri Lanka in Game 1 of the VB series. Damien Martin continued his stunning return to green and gold as he, Simons and Kadich pushed the total beyond 300. Nathan Bracken and Brett Lee both brilliant with the ball as Australia helped themselves to a bonus point.
In Game 2 at the Gabba, Michael Hussey and Brett Lee rescued the home side from embarrassment after a top-order collapse. But the 228 was never enough, as Bo Dibner and Mark Boucher guided the Proteas to a comfortable victory.
Boucher gets it, does he? Better than before!
The home side returned to the winners list in Melbourne as debutant Phil Jakes smashed 94 of Australia's 245. But the night belonged to Brett Lee. He took 5 for 22 as Australia cruised to a comfortable win.
But it would be just 2 wins from 4 games as Sanath Jayasuriya thumped a century just a day after he touched down in the country.
It was a magnificent performance.
Chasing 309 at the SCG, Australia was never in the hunt, with Michael Clark the only batsman to pass 50.
Clark at his absolute best.
Game 7 of the VB series in Adelaide saw Andrew Simons dominate, this time with the ball. Claiming 3 for 48, Sri Lanka could only manage 218. Australia comfortably reached the target with 8 balls to spare.
The series then moved to Perth, where the Sri Lankans set Australia 234 for victory. Acting captain Adam Gilchrist returned to form with the bat, blasting a superb century.
Oh, yes!
And he was well supported by Simon Kadich as the home side cruised to victory.
Back in Melbourne, and it was Michael Hussey and Andrew Simons' brilliant batting display in the closing overs that helped Australia to a solid 281.
Has he got it all the way? Oh, yes!
With Brett Lee in career best form, South Africa were never a chance, falling 80 runs short.
Well, oh my goodness me!
The series then moved to the SCG, and the Australians put on a memorable batting display. Man of the match Gilchrist smashed 88 from just 66 deliveries. Ponting, Martin and Hussey again superb as the home side piled on a massive 344. Australia taking a dominant position at the top of the table.
Explosive and entertaining cricket played by the Australians. Tubby, this is your bit.
Thanks, mate. Yes, well, I have the votes here. The series, as mentioned, started at the Telstra Dome here in Melbourne. Australia took on Sri Lanka. In that match, Simon Kadich made 60 and picked up 1 vote. Damien Martin, 2 votes with his 70. But the man of the match was Andrew Simons, 3 votes for his 66 from 61 balls. Game 2 was at the Gabba, where South Africa won by 5 wickets. Glenn McGrath picked up a vote with 2 for 35. Brett Lee, 2 votes for his 57 with the bat. But Mike Hussey was Australia's best performer, 73 runs, 3 votes. Back to the Telstra Dome. Australia won by 59 runs against South Africa. Brad Hogg, 1 vote, 3 for 32. Phil Jakes on debut made 94 and picked up 2 votes. But Brett Lee was man of the match, 5 for 22, 3 votes. Off to the SCG, where Sri Lanka beat Australia by 51 runs. Andrew Symonds picked up a vote. Nathan Bracken, 2 votes. And Michael Clark, 3 votes with his 67 in that match. Australia then took on Sri Lanka again at the Adelaide Oval, where they won by 5 wickets. Simon Katic, 1 vote for 52. Brad Hogg, 2 for 35, got him 2 votes. Once again, Andrew Symonds was man of the match, 3 for 48 and 32 at a run of ball, 3 votes. Off to the Wacker, where Australia beat Sri Lanka by 6 wickets. Stuart Clark, 2 for 40, got 1 vote. Simon Katic, 2 votes with 82. But Adam Gilchrist with 116 from 105 balls, 3 votes. Back here to Melbourne, where Australia beat South Africa by 80 runs. Andrew Symonds, 1 vote for 65. Mike Hussey, 2 votes for his 62 from 44 balls. But Brett Lee picked up the 3 votes, 4 for 27, back here at Telstra. Oh, it's getting rather close. Final game in the voting. Australia took on South Africa last night at the SCG, where they won by 57 runs. Damien Martin, 1 vote, 79 from 75 balls. Ricky Ponting, 2 votes for his 72. And Adam Gilchrist, 3 votes, 88 from 66. Now, my next job was to announce the winner, but Mark, it seems we have a 4-way tie, and I'm hoping that you have some sort of countdown procedure, or count-back procedure, should I say?
We do, and the great thing is you don't know anything about it,
exactly
do you?
Right.
We do have a count-back procedure in place, but first let's recap where we are. Adam Gilchrist, Michael Hussey, Brett Lee and Andrew Symonds all have 22 votes. Now, there's an asterisk by Andrew Symonds' name. I can now reveal that after the count-back process, the winner would have been Andrew Symonds. But as you've all just heard, Roy is ineligible, or even ineligible. You can't write stuff like that, can you? So then there were 3, and they are Brett Lee, whose fast bowling is capturing the imagination every day, Adam Gilchrist, whose all-round cricket continues to amaze, and a 30-year-old who's burst onto the stage, Mr. Cricket, Michael Hussey. Yes, 3. The countback process, I'm afraid to say, immediately eliminated one man. It eliminated Brett Lee. So Brett Lee's a goner. So then there were 2. And this is how the countback process works. The player who got the most votes of 3 would win it. Unbelievably, between Michael Hussey and Adam Gilchrist, they both got the same amount of votes of 3. So now we go to the player who got the most votes of 2. And now we do have a winner. The winner is left-handed. No, seriously, the winner is a cricketer from Western Australia. But this nerve-jangling game cannot go on, as the hairs are back up on our necks and the sweat is running off our hands. Ladies and gentlemen, the one-day cricketer of the year is Michael Hussey. Come on into the chair. Oh, Hussey, 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 they chanted at the SCG last night. Are you still pinching yourself?
Yeah, I honestly think I'm in a dream, really, and I've got to wake up at some stage. But I must admit, at the SCG yesterday was something really special, something you dream about as a kid, really, thinking about having your name chanted out at the ground. And I was just, I don't know, they just wanted me to get to 50, so it was really nice, and yeah, something I'll remember forever, I think.
Listen, you and your brother David were cricket mad as kids, and I mean kids. Just have a look at this, everybody. Yeah, 5 years old. And we haven't got it wrong. That is Michael Hussey batting right-handed. What was going on there?
Yeah, it's I don't know. My dad didn't know much about cricket, and so we just sort of had a bit of muck around at the back, and he sort of showed me how to use the bat and what have you. And I think I remember watching Allan Border on TV and thinking, I want to bat like him. So I turned around one day in the backyard, and it felt comfortable, and sort of went from there.
Gee, we might have another Bradman if he'd stayed right-handed. 15,000 runs before you got into the stable, if you like. Long wait for you.
Yeah, it has been a long wait, but I don't think I'd have it any other way, to be honest. You really have to earn your place to play for Australia, and that's what I think makes it so special. You really don't take anything for granted. Yeah, as I said, you just have to put as many runs on the board as you possibly can, and really earn that right to wear the bag of green or play in the one-day team. And yeah, it just makes everything, you know, worthwhile when you do get to walk out there and represent your country.
Great. Well, I know what a proud man you are. Many congratulations. Our one-day player of the year is Michael Hussey. Over to you, Ed.
Thanks, Mark. And Mark, just before we go on, I never, ever, ever want to hear anybody complain about me stringing out Who Wants to Be a Millionaire ever again after that performance. Congratulations, Mark, and well done to Mike as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a one-day player of the year. Put your hands together one more time. And as we congratulate our one-day player of the year, it is appropriate also to think back to all the many highlights in one-day cricket that we've seen over the years, and also to think of the man whose legacy has been really the one-day cricket game. I speak of Mr. Kerry Packer, who passed away on Boxing Day last year. And of course, when we think of one-day cricket, when we think of sports broadcasting, but particularly the profound influence on the game of cricket as a whole, we think of Mr. Kerry Packer. And tonight, ahead of the state funeral on February 17, we pay tribute from a cricket point of view to Mr. Kerry Packer.
I actually personally believe that the rest of the World Series probably will turn out to be not quite the draw that Mr. Packer thinks.
You haven't been right to date, so that might be the first thing you write about.
Well,
Lily's pounding down like a machine. Pasco's making divots in the green.
The whole thing was unfolded to me. He told me the whole story of what he had in mind, and well, I was on board within 2 or 3 days, and away we went.
She's taking wickets, hooks, he's clearing pickets, and the Chapel's eyes have got that killer gleam.
I'm not sure whether we'd have day-night cricket so quickly. I mean, the lights went up quickly in Australia, the MCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground, the Adelaide Oval, so we had 3 great stadiums and the Gabba with lights. So I think it was his influence in pushing it forward so quickly, which got us into modern times.
He was one of the most passionate people about cricket I've ever come across. I mean, he actually wanted to know how hard it was to play the hook shot. And so we had this bowling machine which was rigged up on the top of a television tripod, which spat out cricket balls at 100 miles an hour. And Kerry Packer got himself togged up, and then they're trying to play hook shots because he reckoned that if you practice for long enough and hard enough, you should be able to play them. Unfortunately, he didn't practice long enough and hard enough, and he got felled a few times. Well, he changed television forever, and changed so that Channel 9 became the benchmark for televised sport, not just cricket, but televised sport. And apart from being a cricket lover, he was a sports lover.
Would you have given anything to have played for Australia? Absolutely. In what sport? Anything. Marbles.
He had this great pride as an Australian, wanting to put a product to air that was very good and better than anywhere else in the world.
He wanted to talk to every commentator and get their ideas on things, and he was always a great listener and a great arguer as well.
And one thing he always said to me, and I'm sure he said to anyone who's got to know him, was cricket is a game to be enjoyed. Whether you're watching it, playing it, officiating it, or administering the game, you've got to enjoy it. And he's dead right. I think that's what he remembered for.
Every cricketer from the first day of World Series cricket through till who knows when, should, every night before he goes to bed, should just say a little prayer of thanks to Kerry Packer.
We started off having a war with the cricket board. We ended up being friends with them, and between them and us, I think we've ended up doing a service for cricket, which has been good for the game, good for the individuals, and good for the general public.
Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Poor old Andrew Symonds there, gracious in defeat, missing out on the one-day player of the year in the most disappointing of circumstances, but he's been good enough to speak to Mark Nicholas now.
Oh, yeah, look, I'm down here. We'll just clear these away. This room is devastated for you, genuinely. Bad blow.
Oh, look, mate, the game's very serious these days. You know, if you play up, that's fine. Like, you know, I've done the wrong thing. And but the thing I can't believe is they must have rigged the voting. How can we keep up with him? Mr. Cricket, you can't.
The mighty Hussey. Listen, at about the time the mighty Hussey was announcing himself in Test cricket, so were you, really. If we go to the Boxing Day Test match, when he took one of those wickets, you nearly knocked yourself off your feet with your celebrations. Then you nailed him with the bat, and suddenly the cult started to develop, and signs all around the ground, Roy is king. Yeah, I felt every day I went out there it was going to be my last day of Test cricket. And I was really down in the dressing rooms. I was down around the team, which I'm usually not too bad at, and then to actually sort of make a statement with the ball was probably more exciting for me with the bat, and my celebrations were over enthusiastic. And actually my third celebration on that particular day, my adrenaline pumped so hard I didn't think I could bowl another over. I was like worn out, and fortunately Punter I think went to Stewie or Warney to bowl, but I was completely pumped out. If I had to bowl a seventh over it would have been very average. All right, mate, well, listen, you missed out. Your day will come. The fact is, we're watching the rise and rise of Andrew Symonds, and everywhere in the world, you've become a popular cricketer. This room is thinking of you at this moment. Andrew Symonds, back to you, Eddie.
Go on, you, mate. Well done, Andrew. Fantastic stuff. Bit of a lesson there for the kids as well. And it's all about the kids, and even for these superstars of the game, it started somewhere, usually in a suburban oval. Let's go back and find out where it all started for some of our cricketing heroes.
Greatest achievement as a junior cricketer, probably in under 14s. I think I broke the record, and I happened to make 9 centuries in the year, which was quite a good effort back then, I suppose.
In year 5 and 6 at primary school, all of year 5 I was not dismissed for the whole season of school cricket. So when it came back to year 6 the next year, they actually changed the rules of the game and brought in retirement. So I had to retire at 30 every week in school cricket and wasn't dismissed for that season either.
Greatest achievement was scoring my first ever 100 with one of Kim Hughes's test match bats. And used to sit in my dad's study. He'd picked it up at an auction and it had Kim Hughes, best wishes Kim Hughes, and it sat there for about a year and a half like chocolate to a little kid in the fridge. We weren't allowed to touch it, but one Sunday morning I stole it out of Dad's study, put it in my cricket bag, and scored my first ever 100 with it.
My first outdoor game of cricket, I had 6 for none off 1, all bowled first over, and the kids come off crying. I was pretty excited for how I was going to cricket.
When I was really young, I think I got everyone out bowling. Dismissed the whole side.
I think scoring my first 100, I remember the guys sort of signalling for me to get out. I had to slog just to try and get out so that we could go to McDonald's over the road. In the attempts to slog and get out, I actually moosed them and kept hitting them over the fence. So I got my first 100. So, yeah, well played, mate.
I batted a whole 50 overs in a trial match for 29 not out. So it was definitely sent a few people away, but it was quite funny, really, and I sort of look back and cringe on it a bit now.
There's some great stories there. We had to have been playing junior cricket against those guys, and as we head towards the Bradman Young Cricketer of the Year, who better to come out and be our special guest tonight than a man who actually took 17 for 11 as a 13-year-old for the Maitland Police Force team. As a test cricketer, he wasn't bad either. He became an international test star at 19. He scored hundreds in his first 2 tests, was the first player to make a double century and a century in the same test, and he scored a century 3 times in a single session. Ladies and gentlemen, before there was Booney, there was Dougie. Let's welcome Mr. Doug Walters. Mate, welcome aboard. You must be feeling for Andrew Simons over there. You wouldn't have ever got a vote in your life, would you?
You'd have thought they could have given him a pewter or something, wouldn't you?
Give him a yard glass for him.
How unlucky can you be?
Oh, mate. Now, let's have a look at some of the highlights here to start with. As we said, in that Perth test, as we see here, against the Poms, hitting 100 in a session, and we'll see in a moment when Bob Willis comes in to bowl the big 6 on the last bowl of the day. What was it like this particular innings?
I think every cricketer has his day, has one day, or every person, whether he's betting on racehorses or whether he's betting on the stock exchange or just in normal business. We have a day that everything you hope goes to plans, and this was as close as I got. I mean, I don't give the bowlers that much credit. I didn't think they were as accurate as they were on that day. They aimed at the middle of the bat and hit it more often that day than on most other days. That was about it.
Now, we're about to give the Bradman Award, and we've got a shot here from the first test that you played in 1965, sitting there. Nice pair of shoes with the whites there, by the way, there too, Doug. But talking to Sir Donald, what was it like, and what are some of the thoughts that you've got from Sir Donald to pass on to the Young Player of the Year today?
Well, that was a dream debut, I guess, at the age of 19, and I would like to think that a lot of other people around Australia can start playing cricket at 19 and playing for Australia at 19. I walked off the ground that day, and Sir Donald Bradman hopped out of his seat where we were sitting there in front of the dressing room, and I was 100 not out at the end of the day's play, something, and he walked towards me, but there was one guy that raced him, Richie Benaud, put his head in front of Sir Donald and said, Doug, don't you sign a thing until you see me. And which was great advice. And Sir Donald said, if you ever need any help, don't be afraid to come and see me. I'm sure Sir Donald said that to many cricketers right around the world. But if you had problems when he was chairman of selectors at the time, the last person I was going to go and see was Sir Donald Bradman at that time. And I had plenty of problems, like every other cricketer has.
Well, Doug, let's get on with it now. The Bradman Young Cricketer of the Year. If you could just announce who that man happens to be.
The Bradman Young Cricketer of the Year is Dan Cullen.
At the tender age of 21, South Australian off-spinner Daniel Cullen is mature beyond his years. 65 first-class wickets in 2005 has not only made him a crucial part of the Redbacks attack, it has already branded him an Australian player of the future.
Come over, mate. Congratulations, mate. What a fantastic season for you. Broke your finger, of course, a couple of weeks ago there, which has probably knocked you out of any chance of maybe going to South Africa. But everybody's talking up, and we've seen so many of the Don Bradman Young Cricketers of the Year go on to play Test cricket. It must be a very exciting time for you.
Definitely, yeah. It's a great honour. I mean, a lot of great players have won this award in the past. So, yeah, I'm just thrilled to have the chance to be here and win the award.
Just a couple of people to thank?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to thank my parents for helping me out basically all through my life with my cricket. Terry, Jenna and Anne as well. The South Australian Cricket Association and Cricket Australia, and also Graham Manu and Darren Lehman for giving me a chance to basically be up here and give me a bowl, so thanks very much.
Good on you, Dan. Well, before you go, though, we know that you need to have a little bit of confidence about you as a blonde spin bowler, maybe to get into the Australian team. Well, we know it's a tradition not to go too hard on the established players, but Justin Langer let us in on a bit of a secret about this young bloke.
I actually didn't hear this sledge, but I saw this sledge, and it was young Daniel Cullen last year at the Wacker. We were batting, you know, he's only 19 or 20 years old, and we were playing at the Wacker, and he kept baiting me, telling me, don't sweep, don't sweep, don't sweep, I'm going to get you out, I'm going to get you out. And I thought, at the time I was batting well. Anyway, he kept telling me, don't sweep, don't sweep. Eventually I swept him, was given out bat pad. As I walked past him, he just went, and he winked at me. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Mate, all the words in the world could not have been cutting coming from this 20-year-old upstart winking at me because he got me out. Great sleep.
Well done, man. Congratulations, Daniel. You're a beauty. Well played, mate. Good stuff. Good luck with the finger as well, mate.
Thank you, Dan. Don't forget your bat.
Thanks, mate.
You might need it as well someplace.
Come over here, Doug. As we said, look, Bernie's the hero for the VV series at the moment, but let's go through, because if it wasn't for Dougie, there wouldn't have been a Bernie as far as the drinking record was concerned. I know we're not glorifying drinking tonight because we saw what happened to poor old Andy Simons, but tell us about the story. How did it happen?
Well, actually, one of my dogs just races downstairs now. When Bernie goes off, he can't understand what he's talking about. Half the time, neither can I at that time of the night, but I guess, well, they claimed that I held the record at one stage, and I don't know whether it's a record of importance, but it is in whatever book, not too many cricket books, but 44 cans was the standard in those days. From Sydney to London.
Yeah.
Then, a couple of years after I retired, the bloke I'm sitting with down the table there, Rod Marsh, got all the boys organised to take it in drinking shifts on the way over so he could have 45, which he did. Did you see the same film reporter's I saw him hopping off at Heathrow Airport and those blokes pushing him up in those wheelchairs? So Marshy supposedly had the record. Then come another bloke by the name of Neil Brooks. He was a member of the Australian mean machine swimming team a few years ago. Brooksy claimed 49 cans on the return visit from Heathrow to Sydney. Now, when someone breaks a record of importance, you've got to have some proof. I run into Brooksy one night and I said, Brooksy, who marked your card? He said, Doug, he said, no one marked my card. He said, but I'll tell you the truth. He said, I had 32 cans from Heathrow to Singapore. We had 11-hour stopover in Singapore, then I had the rest come to Sydney the next day. I said, you what? I said, you counted 2 different flights, 2 different days. I said, sorry, pal, you crossed off our list. Then comes this little bloke. 53, 54 cans, whatever. I said, Bernie, come over here, mate. Where'd you have these 53 cans? He said, I had 3 or 4 in Launceston Airport, 3 or 4 coming over to Melbourne, 4 or 5 in the airport lounge in Melbourne, 2 or 3 going up to Sydney, half a dozen in the airport lounge in Sydney, 18 to Singapore. I said, don't go any further. He said, why not? I said, you counted the ones you had in the airport terminals? He said, yeah, of course I did. I said, get out of here. I said, Marcy and I only call those practice sessions. You can't trust anybody. Can't trust anybody anymore, Eddie, I tell you.
Doug, we need another reason to have a drink. The State Player of the Year award.
I want to have a beer with Andrew Simons before the end of this night.
That's a certainty.
I reckon he's very unlucky, Andrew. We'd have won that game if he'd have played, you know. The State Player of the Year is Phil Jakes.
An attacking left-hand opening batsman, New South Welshman Phil Jakes excelled in 2005. He averaged more than 68 for the Blues, with the highlight being an unbeaten 240 against Queensland. His outstanding form culminated in his selection in both the Australian Test and One-Day teams.
Well, Well done, Phil. Fantastic performance. Over 1,000 runs that we saw there for New South Wales. And then 94 and, well, out but not out in your first one-day international, a record. What a fantastic year it's been for you.
Yeah, mate, it's been one of those years I suppose you have to pinch yourself at the end of it. You know, the one-day debut and the test debut in the season, it was just a dream come true to me and great experience.
Mate, you've got a lot of opportunity to be up here in the next few years as well and being part of the Australian team, both one day and test. I'm sure there's a few people you'd like to thank as well.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my mum and dad and Danielle, my fiancée, and all my teammates at New South Wales and everyone that's helped me along the way. That you've all been terrific, and I'm really delighted to win this award and with all the great players that are out here.
Good on you, Phil. Congratulations. Phil Jakes, everybody. The State Player of the Year. Doug Walters, one of the all-time great legends. Good on you, Dougie. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Doug Walters. And as we go to the break, let's have a look at some of the plays of the year in cricket.
All right, strap on your thigh pad and check your protector, because here they are, the plays of the year. If you're an Aussie fan, it's been a year of some highs and some downright lows. It doesn't get any worse than copping a belting at the hands of Bangladesh. We also handed back the old urn to the old enemy, and our national anthem took an absolute pasting.
In history, let us all combine to
But if you're a Pakistani supporter, you just don't care. The Kiwis celebrated the 70s. Not bad when your whole country's still living in the 50s. Pigeon reliving some vintage Trevor Chappell. And Billy Bowden reliving some vintage Charlie Chaplin. Aha! Humour. And in keeping with the comedy, here's some celebrating Akhtar style. Don't know about the chicken dance show. He had just brought up his century. Still, not quite as stylish as Danish Canaria. We think his routine needs a little bit of work.
He derailed the batsman, but he derailed himself.
Thankfully, no ceiling fans in the stands in Pakistan. They flock in from everywhere to see the mighty man.
First ball duck for Shahid Afridi.
Then they flock out the exits when his innings is finished after one ball. Celebration of the year would probably have gone to the all-leaping, all-shouting Michael Hussey, but in the end, Mr. Cricket was just pipped by this man.
He's gone mad, I tell you that.
We're not even sure Pakistan was playing that night. And bring on the classic catches. Good old Collingwood forever. Banana bender Clinton Perrin peels off a beauty. Hussey, wait for it. I reckon he celebrates. Yeah, there he goes.
That is an absolute ripper.
And Dwayne takes a Dwinner.
Oh, he's got him anyway. 2 a magnificent catch.
Now for the puddings of the year. First up, Langveld.
Oh, no.
Look away now if your name's Damien Martin.
I don't believe it.
And here's Proteas skipper Graham Smith.
Doing too many weights, my chest got too big there. Hit me straight in the chest.
Smithy commentated his own drop catch, and that's quality in our book. The worst shot of the year? The votes are still coming in for this miss by new boy Sean Tate.
That's not very sensible.
Well, a bee must have stung him.
Another good guy turned bad for a day was Andrew Simons. Simo's career experienced a slight hiccup when he was suspended for turning up under the weather for a one-dayer against Bangladesh. Then he made our boys drinks for the day. Simo, ease up on the old Gatorade daiquiris, please.
Play, Brad.
But the winner of the good guy, bad guy for the season 2005-2006 goes to this Pommy fan. Bingley, we're with you. That's poor darts in our book. Now, let's finish up with a couple of our favourites. The Easter eggs came a couple of months early for Michael Paps, courtesy of a Brett Lee Thunderbolt. The most unusual moment of the year at the Telstra Dome. This moment when Michael Clark lost Andrew Simons as a friend.
It's a freak end for Andrew Simons.
Now, at my uncle's house, if you hit the carport roof, it used to be 6 and out. What's happened to our great game? The World 11, God love them, showed us they weren't just here for a good time. They were here for a very good time. Cricket, anyone? Only if the Caulfield Guineas aren't on. Warney showed there's more to taking wickets than ripping huge leg spinners. Warney, you are the king. And that, for better or worse, was the plays of the year.
Well, he's definitely gone crazy.
Welcome back to the Allan Border Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Nicks.
Maybe the landslide will bring it down. Well, the landslide will bring it down. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Nicks. Ladies and gentlemen, please again for Stevie Nicks and her Australian tour starting on February 17 in every capital city. Stevie Nicks, everybody. Back to the cricket action now, and the performances of the Australian women's cricket team this year seem to mirror that of the men's as well, losing the Ashes series against England 1-0, but bouncing back to win 3-2 in the one-day series. And now it gives me the greatest of pleasure to announce the Female Cricketer of the Year award. And ladies and gentlemen, for the fourth time in 5 years, this award has been awarded to Karen Rolton. Congratulations, Karen.
With almost 850 runs to her name at an average close to 50, it's little wonder Karen Rolton has been judged the best of the best in 2005, 2006. This is the 4th time she's been recognised as the Australian Women's Cricketer of the Year.
Karen, congratulations. It's almost becoming a bit of a tradition. We have Richie Benaud, and every year we have Karen Rolton, just about every year coming up to win the Women's Cricketer of the Year award. Congratulations. And also, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, because as of today, Karen is now the captain of the Australian women's cricket team as well. Congratulations. What a day.
It's been a pretty big day, and you know, it's a great honour to be named captain of the Australian team, and look forward to the next tour that we've got coming up.
And what a season, as I said, 849 runs, an average of 49.94. What keeps you going at this level to be able to do this year after year?
I just enjoy it and play with a great bunch of girls, and you know, enjoy playing at the highest level and winning World Cups.
Well, Karen, congratulations on what has been a fantastic career so far, a wonderful year again, and on being elevated to the captaincy of your country. It is the greatest honour in sport, as we know. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. The Women Cricketer of the Year, Karen Rolton. Thanks, Now it's time to move on to the Test Player of the Year award. And as far as the Test season is concerned, and the 12 months for the Test Player of the Year, it all started against the Kiwis in the Trans-Tasman Cup. 2-0 to the Australians, with Adam Gilchrist the standout, 200s and a half century. As we look at the leaderboard there, we see Adam Gilchrist on 5 votes, from Ricky Ponting on 3, Damien Martin on 3, Shane Warne on 3, and Glenn McGrath on 2 votes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the series that Richie Benaud described earlier tonight as one of the greatest in the history of cricket, the Ashes series against England.
The opening session of the first Test at Lord's set the tone for the most memorable of Ashes series. The Aussie skipper had some headaches from the outset, and while gutsy opener Justin Langer showed his usual fighting spirit, the visitors were all out for 190 in less than 2 sessions. The locals were delirious before a sensational final session saw Australia claim 7 for 82. Glenn McGrath, the destroyer, ripping through the top order.
He's so good. You know, he looked like a kid in a lolly shop there, running around there for a while, with his new highlights in his hair and all that sort of stuff. But look, it was a fantastic spell, one of the best spells I've seen him bowl.
All out for 155 on day 2, young star Michael Clarke sparkled for the Australians with 91. Chasing 420, the English openers put on 80 for the first wicket before Shane Warne showed a glimpse of what was to come.
Yes.
Fittingly, it was man of the match Glenn McGrath, whose 9th wicket helped record a 239-run belting and keep a 71-year-old unbeaten run at Lord's intact.
The English people were probably thinking, here we go again, it's the same old, same old. We're going to lose the Ashes 5-0. We never thought that. We always knew that England had a fantastic side.
1-0 up, disaster struck the first Test hero, who stood on a ball in the warm-up and was then ruled out of the Test.
You know, things didn't go to plan for us early in the game. You know, I won the toss and sent England in on a wicket in conditions I thought would have had some assistance for our bowlers, but that didn't happen, and they made 400, I think, on the first day there, and from that moment on we were behind the 8 ball.
A dramatic start to the Aussie dig saw Hayden fall to the second ball of the innings before Langer and Ponting steadied the ship.
Fabulous.
But the tail folded to be all out, 99 runs shy of England's first innings total.
Flintoff is very special.
For Shane Warne wreaked havoc, taking 6 for 46. Andrew Flintoff scored another blistering 73.
Massive.
Chasing 282 for victory, Australia was reeling at the end of day 3, needing 107 runs with just 2 wickets in hand.
I don't think any of us realistic, if we're honest with ourselves, thought we could win the way their attack had been bowling in the first Test and through Edgbaston. But, you know, we did pretty well, and then someone got control of my foot and just sort of decided to hit it against the stumps. I don't know who it was that got control of my foot.
Lee and Kasprowicz were brave, mustering 59 of the 62 required, but Harmison claimed the vital wicket to clinch a 2-run win and square the series.
To end one of the most thrilling games of cricket there's ever been.
Shane, Brett and Michael Kasprowicz that day were just unbelievable. To stand up against Harmison and Flintoff the way they did for as long as they did showed a lot of courage, and you know, almost pulled off what would have been one of the great test wins of all time.
England skipper Michael Vaughan won the toss at Old Trafford, then proceeded to pile on the runs, making 166 of his side's 444.
Michael Vaughan is...
Reverse swing king Simon Jones baffled the Aussies. Shane Warne, the only batsman to pass 35, adding 90 runs to his 4 first innings wickets.
Yeah, unfortunately, I gassed another one there at Old Trafford. I got 90 there, and I think I've had 5 genuine chances of getting a Test 100, but hopefully one day I'll get there, but who knows, I might have blown my chance.
Another century to opener Andrew Strauss was the high point of England's second innings. They declared 6 down, setting the visitors 423 runs for victory. The Australian batsmen again struggled to establish themselves, all bar Ricky Ponting.
And that is Ricky Ponting's 100.
I think it was, you know, really important that day for me, not as a captain, because I didn't really come into it, but just for me as a player and a batsman, really wanted to hold my hand up that day and do the best that I could for the team.
Falling with just 5 overs remaining and 1 wicket left, McGrath and Lead took a pounding before staving off the England attack to keep the series level.
Redemption from Edgbaston.
So we worked on a pretty simple theory. That was to watch the ball really closely. If it's short, take on the body. If it's full, try and get some bat on it. And we just scraped home.
Sean Tate was presented with baggy green number 392 before the 4th test at Trent Bridge, and he had an immediate impact before the runs flowed for England.
Flintoff has got onto one.
Australia's batting lineup collapsed again.
Oh, what a catch!
Brett Lee top-scored with a quick-fire 47, but was unable to prevent the Aussies following on. The world champions made a better fist of the second innings, but half-centuries from Langer, Clark and Kadich could only set the home side 129 runs for victory and a 2-1 series lead. It was Warne who put life back into the match, claiming 3 quick wickets, and when Lee struck, an upset was on the cards. Before Ashley Giles and Matthew Hoggart guided England to victory.
Those are the winning runs for England.
A perfect batting strip awaited both sides for the series decider at the Oval. England won the all-important toss, and opener Andrew Strauss made the Australians pay dearly with another big ton. Shane Warne restoring hope, his 6 wickets restricting the home side to 373. Justin Langer was again the aggressor as he and Matthew Hayden piled on the runs.
100 to Justin Langer. That is a very good 100 from Matthew Hayden.
But after cruising at 1 for 264, the batting order collapsed to be all out 6 runs short of England's first innings total. Warne and McGrath's dreams of Ashes glory appeared realistic when the pair had England reeling at 7 for 199, but missed opportunities cost Australia dearly as Kevin Peterson was dropped 3 times on his way to 158 and a series-winning draw. England regaining the Ashes for the first time since 1989.
Yes, what a magnificent series, the Ashes. And here's the leaderboard after 8 of the 15 matches in the Test Player of the Year. Shane Warne has streeted to the lead with 16 votes from Ricky Ponting on 6, Adam Gilchrist on 5, Brett Lee on 5 and Glenn McGrath also on 5 votes. And as we saw there at the end of the celebrations, the Poms, they are really enjoying it. They still are, and no more than one man in particular, that old off-spinner by the name of Phil Tufnell.
Evening all. And I'm thrilled to be in the presence of such greatness. The cream of Australian cricket. Or the cream that's just slightly curdled a little bit since last summer. Boys, where did it all go wrong? Losing to Bangladesh wasn't a great start. Now, they're a good side, but you lost. Probably the biggest upset in world cricket. But that didn't stop old Pigeon McGrath from predicting a 5-0 whitewash against the old Poms in the Ashes. Hey, Pidge, give us a tip for the 3:30 at Ascot. Not. Hey, and I hope the ankle's a little bit better since that nasty accident before Edgbaston. But you can take some consolation, because you did average with the bat more than your wicketkeeper did. Talking of Edgbaston, Punter, what were you doing? You won the toss and you stuck us in. 407 we scored that day. And they've even stuck a plaque up commemorating that fact at Edgbaston. Thanks, mate. Warning. The legend that is Shane Warne. Batted like a maestro. Bowled like a magician. Zooters, wrong-uns, they're all coming out. But just because you're a mate of Kevin Peterson's didn't mean on that last day at the Oval you had to drop him twice. Do you wake up in the middle of the night thinking that you might have dropped the Ashes? I've got Herschel Gibbs' phone number here if you want some counselling. He'll be awake. Anyway, about 50,000 of us Poms are coming down to Australia this summer to watch us retain the Ashes. That'll crown it. Happy days, boys.
Imagine having to cop that from a bloke who averaged 2 with the bat and 38 for the ball against Australia, not to mention his fielding. But, ladies and gentlemen, there are 290 days to go before Australia takes on England again in the Ashes series. We're all counting it down because it's going to be an absolute beauty, and you'll see it all on Nine's Widewater Sports.
England have regained the Ashes at the Oval.
Joy for every England player.
We annihilated Australia.
Losing any series hurts.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's hurting more than the players.
It was amazing.
We'll make sure that we're very well prepared for England when they arrive here.
Oh, yes.
I think the anticipation is already there for the series that's coming up in Australia.
To win it in Australia, that's as good as it gets at the moment, I think.
That's a biggie.
Thanks to Crown Lager, welcome back to the Allan Border Medal. And since the beginning of this telecast in 2000, well, there have been some 23 icons who have been named as Hall of Famers. And Richie Benaud is one of the selectors. And Richie, tonight we add another 2 famous names to this wonderful list.
This is, I think, the best Hall of Fame in the sporting world. It's very, very limited in numbers. You've got to be someone pretty good to get into it. And we do have 2 more tonight, and I'm looking forward to introducing them.
Away you go.
Well, the first inductee tonight is Monty Noble, who played a long time ago, a long time before any of us in this room were around. He made his Test debut in 1898, and he was an outstanding all-rounder and the second Australian, only the second Australian, to do the Test match double. That's 1,000 Test match runs and 100 Test match wickets. And the one to do it before him was George Giffen, another outstanding all-rounder. But Monty Noble, in 1907, followed Joe Darling as captain of the Australian team. His first Test match as captain, he won by 2 wickets. Second Test match as captain, he lost by 1 wicket, and he was heard to say later that he'd quickly discovered that there was a vast difference between being a player in a team and being a captain, taking all the credit and the blame. Monty Noble was the first sportsman to have a grandstand named after him at the Sydney Cricket Ground, the M.A. Noble Stand, and a wonderful place from which to watch the game of cricket. Generally a packed part of the ground there. He stands out as one of the great figures of Australian cricket. And everything I've heard or read about him indicates that he would be an ideal model for the modern day spirit of cricket. That was the way he played the game, hard but fairly all the time. He had occasional differences with administrators, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people have done that over the years. But he enjoyed the complete loyalty of his players, and that's quite a combination to be able to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, the 24th inductee to Australia's Cricket Hall of Fame, Monty Noble. The second inductee captained Australia from 1964 to 1968. I played under him in that series in 1964. Having skippered Australia in the first Test match. He was a splendid middle order player and turned himself into an outstanding opening batsman against fast bowlers from the world over. He was a good leg spin bowler and a wonderful, simply wonderful slip fielder. Now these days, when you look around and you study the cricket, you might think that players make their first-class debuts relatively late in life. And consider this for a moment. When our inductee made his Sheffield Shield debut, it was way back in 1953, and he made his debut for New South Wales, playing against Victoria at the SCG, and he was 16 years of age. Ladies and gentlemen, our second inductee tonight is Bob Simpson. Bob, it's a wonderful honour and well-deserved, and I'm delighted. I see you moving just a fraction slowly. That's too much time on the golf course. But allow me to present you with the award, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, it's too little time on the golf course. I've had a knee replacement. I'm thinking about making a comeback. It seems every 10 years that I've been asked to do a little bit more for Australian cricket, and I've been out of the coaching for Australia for 10 years, so the time may well be right, but I'm not quite sure what the comeback will be. I was told that I have 2 minutes to reply here this evening. Good Lord, Phantom Laurie couldn't even take guard in that time. But you know, in many ways I've been so lucky in life and so lucky in sport. I've been involved in the game for an awful long time, over 50 years. I've had the good fortune of playing in perhaps the most exciting 50 years of international and state cricket. There's been a lot of controversy, there's been a lot of great cricket, and there's been enormous cricketers. Bill Laurie, in a corpse with pads on, once unkindly called, in fact played one of the great innings of all time at the Lord's Test in 1961. A wonderful cricketer. My life has been divided into packages, and many of the packages, components of those, are here this evening. Firstly as a player, a young player, then as a captain, 10 years out of the game, and then coming back to play during World Series, another 10 years out of the game and being asked to come back and coaching. People often ask why I stayed in so long. Probably it's because I loved the game, I had a great passion for the game, but I think overall it was just a sense of being part of this great game of cricket and part of the great Australian dream, and that dream to me has been fulfilled in so many ways. Square cut, I used to be able to square cut too. Where did that shot go, by the way? In fact, you know, when I look back on life, I've been fortunate that so many of the inductees who have preceded me here have been teammates. So I'll be joining a happy group that I already know. The most important component, however, throughout the long time I've been associated with the game has been my family, my strength, my love. And this evening here I got my wife of 48 years, my 2 daughters, Kim and Debbie, and one of the grandsons is also here tonight. And I'm very proud of them and I thank them for what they've contributed. I don't think people who are in the public eye and the people that watch them understand just what a family can mean and the sacrifices that are made. My wife, in fact, I met when I was just 18. I went along to the dance studio to learn to dance to try and improve my footwork. Didn't do too well there, but managed to pick up a lass who became my wife a few years later, who turned out to be a brilliant dancer, judged as the best ballroom dancer, lady ballroom dancer in the state. We had 2 children. A few years later, she decided she'd like to come back and dance a little bit more and won the Australian professional Latin American title. A great achievement. But Meg, being as unselfish as she is, always put my career ahead of her own. And for you, my darling, I say thank you. As indeed I say thank you to all who have been involved in giving me the great honour of once again being continuing part of Australia. Thank you.
Well done, mate. The selectors have done a fantastic job again What about two wonderful cricketers? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, not only Bob Simpson, but his entire family, and Bob so eloquently put it, the sacrifices that the family of sports people, the sacrifices they make right throughout their career, and tonight acknowledging, probably a little bit overdue, but nevertheless acknowledging, and congratulations to all the Simpsons family. Well done. Richie, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to count down the Test Player of the Year and the Allan Border medalist. That's coming up right after the break. Thanks to Crown Lager from the Crown Palladium Room. Welcome back to the Crown Palladium Room. Thanks to Crown Lager, we're into the home stretch now as we count down towards the Test Player of the Year and then the Allan Border medalist for 2006. Let's go back to the two Marks, Mark Nicholas and Mark Taylor, to count down the final votes.
Thanks, Eddie. Well, it goes without saying that Test match cricket is about skill, but it's about character and a deal of personality as well. And as we recap the votes that we saw a short while ago, we find that the man at the top of that list has all three in abundance. It's Warney, then it's Ricky Ponting, Adam Gilchrist, Brett Lee, Glenn McGrath is how it stands, with Mark Taylor alongside me. Test cricket's about mental strength too, and Australia have been preeminent in that for a decade now.
Oh, no doubt about that. I think sport in general is won by those individuals or teams who can win those big moments. And I think Ricky Ponting's team, Steve Waugh's team before him, won those big moments. I think what I suppose all of us enjoyed to a certain extent during the Ashes series is that England started winning those and gave us a damn fine run for their money. Unfortunately, they went on to win the damn series, which none of us liked too much, but I think it promises to make for a very good series next year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Keep mentioning those Ashes, Tub. Look, it's 36 years since Sir Garfield Sobers played an innings at the Melbourne Cricket Ground that Sir Donald Bradman thought was the greatest he'd ever seen. 254 he made in a World 11 that was full of glitterati. Well, the World 11 were back in October under the banner of the ICC. They were full of glitterati too, but they weren't a match for the Aussies this time, and nor were the West Indians that followed.
The one-off Super Series test was hyped as a showcase of the world's greatest talent, and Matthew Hayden didn't let the Sydney crowd down. His century followed by 94 from Adam Gilchrist, as Australia posted 345.
And it goes all the way. What a ripper.
The World 11 lost 3 wickets early before Verinder Sehwag steadied the ship, but Stuart MacGill and co ripped through the tail to have the dream team all out late on day 2.
It's all over.
Rapid-fire half-centuries from Hayden and Ponting increased Australia's 155-run first innings lead before the World 11 claimed the last 9 wickets for 47. With the world chasing 355, Australia claimed 2 wickets before stumps on day 3 and took just 50 overs to wrap up the test in a 210-run victory.
The girls got 5.
Australia's next challenge was the West Indies in Brisbane. Michael Hussey debuted, but it was Ponting who dominated with the bat, belting another century.
And Ricky Ponting brings up his 24th Test 100.
While this 6 from Brett Lee will long be remembered.
When he hits them, they go a long way.
I thought one was a decent ball to have a bit of a go at, and I think I shut my eyes and swung as hard as I possibly could and saw the ball sail over the roof of the Gabba, which was a pretty special feeling.
The West Indies could manage only 210 in response to Australia's 435. Warne starring with the ball, claiming his 33rd 5-wicket haul. Declining to enforce the follow-on, first it was Hayden, then Ponting who brought up back-to-back centuries. Chasing an improbable 509, the visitors capitulated to be all out for 129. Brett Lee, the main destroyer.
A new-look Australian team took the field for the second test, including debutant Brad Hodge.
You know, I've waited so long to try and get to this position, and you know, it just felt nice, you know, getting the baggy green cap and then, you know, putting that on the bench. And, you know, you've got that little monkey off my back where I got the cap. Now it's, you know, a chance to try and make some runs.
It was McGrath who struck early, claiming 4 for 31, as the West Indies were all out for just 149. The Aussies quickly gained control thanks to Hussey's maiden Test century.
And boy, he's very happy about it too.
Watching the replay a few times, I sort of cringe a little bit, but it was just pure emotion just pouring out of my body. To score 100 is probably the best thing a batter can do, and to get 100 was just a great feeling, and the message of support have been huge.
While at the other end, Matthew Hayden grabbed his 24th. Dinesh Ramden and a Dwayne Bravo century gave the visitors a glimmer of hope. But they could only set Australia 78 runs for victory, a task easily achieved.
Having already retained the Sir Frank Worrell Trophy, Adelaide was treated to one of the greatest batting displays ever. In his last test on Australian soil, Brian Lara passed Allan Border's test run scoring record on his way to 226.
What a moment for Lara and for cricket as well.
Australia eclipsed the West Indies' first innings total as Hussey's dream run continued with another century. After claiming 6 wickets, Bravo provided the only real resistance with the bat as the visitors were all out for 204. The Australians losing just 3 wickets along the way, Hayden and Hussey prominent again.
Well, the test matches started back in October at the SCG. Australia took on the rest of the world and won by 210 runs. Shane Warne received 1 vote in that test match with his 6 wickets. Stuart McGill 2 votes for 9 wickets. But man of the match with Matthew Hayden with 111 and 77, 3 votes. First test against the West Indies at the Gabba, Australia won by 379. Matthew Hayden made 100, got 1 vote. Brett Lee 2 votes for his 5 for 30 and 47 runs. But Ricky Ponting with 149 and 104 not out in the second innings, 3 votes. The second test of the series was also won by Australia by 9 wickets. Glenn McGrath polled 1 vote for 6 wickets. Matthew Hayden 2 votes, another 100 for him. But his first test match 100, 137 for Mike Hussey, gave him 3 votes in the test match. Australia clean swept the series by winning in Adelaide by 7 wickets. Matthew Hayden again polled a vote. Shane Warne 2 votes with 6 for 80. But once again, the man of the match was Mike Hussey with 133 not out in the first innings. So the leaderboard, we've got Shane Warne still way up the top with 19 votes. Ricky Ponting and Matthew Hayden 9 each. Lee 7 and Mike Hussey on 6.
And we are now zipping through the test match year. We've made it to Christmas and to Perth, and thus it was that old rivalries and old hostilities were resumed with the South Africans.
The Australians won the toss and elected to bat. Skipper Ricky Ponting set the tone for his series with a quick-fire 72 that featured 12 boundaries. But it was Mackay and Teeny who claimed 5 of the first 6 wickets as the home side were bundled out for 258. Cruising at none for 83, Nathan Bracken broke through before Warne and Lee set about destroying the middle order. The king of spin trapping Ashwell Prince in front to hand him the world record for most test wickets in a calendar year.
Shane Warne has got it. There it is.
The Australian second innings belonged to Victorian Brad Hodge. After scoring his maiden test century, he turned it into a double as the home side set South Africa an improbable 491 for victory.
Beauty.
But a resilient Jux Rudolph saved the match with an unbeaten 102.
The Aussie skipper again won the toss and elected to bat for the Boxing Day test in Melbourne. Debutant Phil Jakes fell early before Ponting and Hayden piled on the runs. The skipper was superb, striking 13 fours in his 117 before a collapse that saw the home side lose 6 for 77 in the final session. But day 2 produced something special. Michael Hussey combining with Glenn McGrath for a last wicket stand of 107 as the West Australian amassed his 3rd century of the summer.
And a magnificent 100 it is too.
Herschel Gibbs helped the visitors to a solid start before falling just 6 runs shy of his century when he chopped onto an Andrew Symonds in-swinger. Symonds finally at home in the Test arena, claiming 3 vital wickets. And despite a Matthew Hayden century in the second innings, Symonds also stole the show with the bat, smashing 72 off just 54 balls.
Whoa.
Setting the Proteas attempting 366 for victory, the chase was in tatters by stumps on day 4. The old firm of Warne and McGrath wrapping up the match and a comfortable 184-run victory.
Shane Warne, you are a beauty.
1-0 down, Graham Smith won the toss and elected to bat in Sydney. Liam McGrath claimed early wickets before Jacques Callis and Ashwell Prince put on a brilliant fourth wicket stand of 215. Both men scored centuries, and after declaring 9 down by stumps on day 2, Australia had lost 3 quick wickets. Day 3 was marred by some intriguing umpiring decisions.
Graham Smith is spinning.
But Ricky Ponting rose above the controversy to score another century in his 100th test. With inclement weather continuing to play its part and a result unlikely, Gibbs smashed a fiery 67 before South African captain Graham Smith declared just 286 runs in front, breathing life back into the match. But the Australian skipper was simply unstoppable as he became the first player to score 2 centuries in his 100th test. Ponting's 515 runs from 6 innings that included 300s, the backbone of a 2-0 series victory.
The first test match was drawn at the Wacker ground. In that match at Perth, Ricky Ponting 1 vote. Brett Lee with 5 for 93, 2 votes. But with his maiden test match 100, a score of 203 not out, Brad Hodge, 3 votes. The Boxing Day test match was won by Australia by 184 runs. Ricky Ponting once again received a vote for his 117. Andrew Simons, 2 votes, with 3 for 50 and 72. But Mike Hussey, with his 122 in the first innings, 3 votes. And the final test of the calendar year was won by Australia by 8 wickets. Adam Gilchrist received 1 vote for 86 runs. Matthew Hayden made 90 and received 2 votes. But the man of the match in his 100th test match, with scores of 120 and 143 not out, Ricky Ponting, 3 votes. And with that, it is my great pleasure to announce the 2006 Test Player of the Year to the man who took 97 Test wickets last year, Mr. Shane Warne.
How's you being up here?
I don't get up here too much often that way.
Well, it's only the second time in 7 years of the Allan Border medal. We've got some
Not
good
that good,
shots. Well, they are. We've got some good shots of Brookie holding her fingers crossed there.
My good luck charm tonight, my daughter Brooke, yeah.
Bornie, quite a year really, 600 test match wickets and dusting up your hero really, Dennis Lillee, with the calendar year performance. You reckon you're back to your very best?
Look, it was an amazing year. I think, you know, you look back at the test year, we lost the Ashes, which was pretty disappointing. But I thought through the whole year, I'm not sure exactly how many tests we played, 14 or 15, and I think we only lost a couple or 1 test match, so, or 2 test matches. So it was a pretty good year, and I thought we bounced back since then. Since we've been back in Australia, I thought we've been playing some excellent cricket. And from a personal point of view, I think, you know, the ball's been coming out okay. Hopefully I can keep it up.
It's not that good. You and Glenn have gone second on the all-time list of test match ducks.
I know he keeps reminding me about that too, but hopefully I can stay a little bit behind him, which would be nice.
All right. We've heard Richie talk a bit about the future. People wondering just how far you might be prepared to play.
Look, I think all about in cricket, I think the word enjoyment has been spoken a fair bit tonight. It's something that I suppose when you played for 15 years, it's a hell of a long time to play cricket for. And, you know, Bob Simpson mentioned about the sacrifices and that you make. And unfortunately, as international cricketers, there are a lot of sacrifices you have to make, but it makes it all worthwhile. I suppose when you're playing such a great side and you achieve some of the things that this side has achieved over a period of time, you come to a function like tonight and you see the players that have played before and the current day players, and you get a chance to talk to those guys, and you see Richie Benaud up here, and remember at the Oval where all the players were standing up and clapping for Richie. He's been an amazing person for the game of cricket. I think all the guys in here, we're all here for one reason, because we love playing cricket, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I've made a lot of sacrifices along the way, but look, I've enjoyed every minute, and hopefully I've got a few good games left yet.
Lots of great accolades through your career. In the year 2000, Wisden nominated you as one of the 5 cricketers of the century. Sir Donald Bradman, Sir Jack Hobbs, Sir Garfield Sobers, Sir Vivian Richards, and plain old Shane Warne.
I think it was probably going to stay that way too, I would have thought, but look, must have got lost in the post or something, I suppose, but look, I'm happy just to stay that way.
Mate, I think we can talk on behalf of everybody in the cricketing firmament. You continue to give us enormous pleasure. You're a master of what you do. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you very much.
Eddie. Well done, Warnie. The Test Player of the Year again, Shane Warne, and just as we get set to go to the break, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and thank Mark Nicholas and Mark Taylor for their performances tonight. Congratulations, fellas. And right throughout the summer on Nine's coverage of wide world of sports of the cricket. We're going to take a break. Right after the break, we're going to count down the Allan Border medal and hand it over right after this. Thanks to Crown, this is the Allan Border medal night. Thanks to Crown Lager. It's time now to present the Allan Border Medal for 2007. It's the 7th time we've been able to do so. In the room tonight, we've got some of the past winners. And of course, going back, it was Glenn McGrath and Steve Waugh who won the first 2 Allan Border medals. And around the room, as we have a look tonight, we've got Matthew Hayden, the award winner in 2002. Adam Gilchrist was honoured with a brilliant 2003. In 2004, it was Ricky Ponting, the captain of Australia. And last year, the pup, at just 23 years of age, Michael Clark. Well, time now to find out just who will be the winner for 2007. And just so you know how we come up with the Allan Border medalist, here's how we do so. This is the voting procedure. First of all, players, umpires and the media vote on all Test and one-day international matches played. The player votes are combined after each match and a collective 3-2-1 vote is cast. Umpires and media votes are combined after each match and a collective 3-2-1 vote is cast. So therefore a maximum votes for any player in one match is 6. Test votes are weighted 2-1 to reflect the fewer number of tests played, and all votes are then combined to determine just who is the Allan Border medalist, the best player in the last 12 months of cricket in Australia. Got that all worked out, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to have a test right after the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it works out pretty much like this. The winner of the Allan Border medal is a superstar of the game. Let's welcome the man who the medal is named after. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our greatest ever, Mr. Allan Border. Allan, I know 7 years ago when we did this, 2000, can you believe it? Well, 6 years ago, but 7th Allan Border medal to be presented. You're a bit nervous about having a name on the medal. Would it be a one-off? Would it last? Would it endure? And here we are after just another fantastic year of cricket, and the medal just gets bigger and better. It must be fantastic for you.
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, it's just a great thrill to be part of this sort of event. The players have just turned on another fantastic year of cricket, and culminating in the big award tonight.
So it felt 0.5 early on. I think you, like everybody else, can't wait for those 290 days to roll over.
Well, it's going to be something special. We've seen, one of the great Ashes series just a few months ago. I think the Australian cricket team have bounced back strongly and eagerly awaiting Phil Tuffle and the boys, the English boys, to get here. So looking forward to that.
Mate, well, let's get on with it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. All the scribes are ready to go. The presses are ready to roll for the papers tomorrow morning. We all want to hear who the 2007 Allan Border medalist is.
Right, the Allan Border medalist for 2006, Ricky Ponting.
My heartiest congratulations. In a sense, this is a bit of a comeback because of the disappointments in England, but have a positive about it. Just look forward to what's going to happen when they come out here next year.
Yeah, that's right, Richie, and thanks very much, everybody. If we needed any more inspiration, I think we've all got it tonight with looking at that short video from Phil Tufnell there, and quite a few guys on my table were pretty fired up at that. I'm not sure whose idea it was, but it certainly made us a bit hungrier to take on the English when they arrive in, as we say, just 290 days' time, I think. So we're all looking forward to that a lot. Look, I've got a lot of people to thank tonight. First and foremost, my beautiful wife sitting down the table there, who's been with me through all the good times, which there have been plenty, and there have been a few bad times as well, most of which have happened over the last few months. But thanks very much, sweetie. Your support is very much appreciated, and you've given up a lot to travel around the world with me, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you. And, I mean, I wouldn't be standing up here before you all tonight if I wasn't part of a great cricket team or a great team. And I've said to lots of people since we've been back that, as far as I'm concerned, and it's probably a bit arguable right now, but this Australian cricket team is still the best cricket team in the world, and as far as I'm concerned, is the best sporting team in the world. And for me to be a captain of that side is a great honour and a great thrill, something I'll never, ever give up. I love doing it. I'll keep doing it as well as I can to the best of my ability for as long as I can, and I'm looking forward to the English when they arrive in less than a year's time, and I'll guarantee that this Australian cricket team will put up a better show than they put up in the Ashes only a few months ago. The reason I play this game is for my teammates. I think the reason we all play is for our mates. They mean the world to me, and that's what playing in the team is all about. We all go out there, we give our all each and every day to do the best for our mates, to do the best for our country, and that's one thing that keeps me playing this game day in and day out. So to my teammates, support staff and coaches, thank you all very much. You've made this all possible tonight. Thanks a lot. I'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you please to be all upstanding as we propose the toast to the 2007 Allan Border medalist and the first ever dual Allan Border medalist. What a superstar he's been, the Australian captain. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Richie Benaud. 3 cheers for the dual Allan Border medalist. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Congratulations, mate. A fantastic performance. Richie Benaud, everybody. Well done. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a break and come back and wrap up the Allan Border medal for 2007 right after this, thanks to Crown Lager. And there he is, the 2006 Allan Border medalist, the first player ever to win 2 Allan Border medals. Richie Benaud, the Australian cricket captain there before all the media, and getting the photo with the Allan Border medal. A fantastic effort. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Richie Benaud. Fantastic performance tonight. Well done, Ricky. Let's have a look at the standings and just see how Ricky won this award in 2006. There he is up the top there with 83 votes. 3 votes clear of Mike Hussey. Have a look at that. Equal the umpires and the media there. There you go, Mike. Have a look at that. Mr. Cricket himself. One-day internationals, Hussey with 22 votes, 18 on the test. 40 each between the umps and the media. They love Mr. Cricket, don't they, those media boys? 83 to 80. Brett Lee, a fantastic season. He's had his critics over his career. Did he answer them in this last 12 months? Well done to Brett on 77 votes. Well, Gillies there again was 75, and Shane Warne just playing the test crickets, of course, with 70 votes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our place getters. A fantastic effort. Well done, Warney. Well done, Gilly. Well done to Mike Hussey. And again, well done to the Allan Border medalist in Richie Benaud. Just wrapping up now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier tonight, the Bradman Young Player of the Year, Dan Cullen. The State Player of the Year, Phil Jakes. The Female Cricketer of the Year, Karen Rolton. The Hall of Fame inductees, Monty Noble and Bob Simpson. The One-Day Player of the Year was Michael Hussey. The Test Player of the Year was Shane Warne. And the Allan Border medalist was Richie Benaud. It's been a fantastic night, thanks to Crown Lager. We hope you've enjoyed it. Once again, to the maestro himself, Richie Benaud, on another fantastic performance and a wonderful year over there in England. Richie, and congratulations. You deserve all the accolades that you received, mate.
Thank you, Eddie.
Well done, mate.
Great night.
This has been another production of Nine's Wide World of Sports. I hope you've enjoyed it. Good night.
dream until my head weighs 16 tons. And when I wake sometime in June, I'll say, take me back to the sweet times, the hot nights. Everything is gonna be alright in the summertime. Baby, in the summertime. And even if I have to wait till next year, I don't care. All I know is that I'll meet you there in the summertime. Baby, in the summertime. Baby, in the summertime. Baby, in the summertime. That is where I'll be.
Say goodnight.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.